Number 5. Family makes horrific discovery behind walls during renovations. Auburn, Pennsylvania. A family in Pennsylvania found some unexpected insulation already lurking behind the walls while they were putting in new insulation. The Bretsius family was shocked and disgusted to find dozens of dead animal carcasses in the walls, half-used spices and other items, according to WNEP. All of the dead animals were wrapped in newspapers from the 1930s and 40s. The mother of 4 said they first found animals in the walls back in 2012 and have been removing the items ever since. The dead animals were all wrapped in old newspapers from the 1930s and 40s. She said when they got a home inspection before they bought the place in Auburn, the inspector didn't find a thing. "We got the radon inspection. We looked for everything. We didn't know to look for chickens." The family said when they bought the house in 2011, it was their dream home because they weren't going to have to do any work, but now that's all they've been doing. "It has been horrifying because it has completely drained our savings," said Bretsius. The horror in the wall isn't covered by insurance since the stuff was there before they bought the policy. The family had to fix the issue and pay for it themselves, costing around $20,000. After the family removed the items, they wanted some answers. They sent hundreds of the artifacts and carcasses to an expert in Kutztown. Now the Bretsius family might know why someone would put such crazy things inside a wall. What they call powwowing or Dutch magic. "They used this to heal ailments," said Bretsius. "But knowing why the stuff was there doesn't make it any easier. The mold caused almost everyone in the family to get sick and the smell won't go away. The family isn't even sure if all of the dead animals are out of the house." Bretsius said, "We don't have the finances or the resources to rip out the tub wall where they're still there." The family says it still needs to tear out some more walls to check for any more dead animals. Since insurance won't cover it and they've run out of money, they started a GoFundMe account. Number 4. The Axe Murder House. The Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa is a well-known tourist attraction for ghost hunters and horror lovers alike. The site of a gruesome unsolved 1912 murder, in which 6 children and 2 adults had their skulls completely crushed by the axe of an unknown perpetrator. Was purchased in 1994? Restored to its 1912 condition and converted into a tourist destination. It costs $428 a night to stay at the old haunted home, where visitors always report strange paranormal experiences, such as visions of a man with an axe roaming the halls or the faint screams of children. But in November of 2014, the haunting took a darker turn. Robert Stephen Larson Jr., 37, of Rhinelander, Wisconsin, was on a regular recreational paranormal visit with friends when true horror struck. Per Vice, his companions found him stabbed in the chest, an apparently self-inflicted wound, called 911, and Larson was brought to a nearby hospital before being helicoptered to Creighton University Medical Center in Omaha. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office said Larson suffered the self-inflicted injury at about 12:45 a.m., which is around the same time the 1912 axe murders in the house began. Larson recovered from his injuries, but has never spoken publicly about what occurred that day. For Martha Lynn, the owner of the home, the incident was very upsetting. It's publicity, but it's not exactly the kind of publicity you desire to have. "I don't want people thinking that when they come to the Villisca Axe Murder House something's going to happen that's going to make them do something like that." The house remains open for tourist visits and overnight stays today. Number 3. Florida Devil Worshipping. Friends noticed that Danielle Harkins, a 35-year-old schoolteacher near St. Petersburg, Florida, started acting strangely in June of 2012, developing an interest in demonic rituals. Soon after, she was arrested for abuse of 7 of her former students, as the Tampa Bay Times reported. Danielle Harkins told the kids they needed to rid their bodies of demons as the group gathered before dusk Saturday around a small fire near the St. Petersburg Pier. They should cut their skin to let the evil spirits out, police said she told the children. Then, they needed to burn the wounds to ensure that those spirits would not return. When Harkins held a lighter to one teen's hand, wind blew the flame out, police said. That prompted her to douse his hand in perfume before setting it on fire. The boy suffered second-degree burns, police said. Another teen was cut on the neck with a broken bottle, police said. Harkins used a flame to heat a small key, which she then used to cauterize the wound. The police were notified because a friend of one of the students who participated in the ritual raised alarms. However, none of the students themselves told their parents about the event or would comment following the arrest of Harkins for aggravated battery and child abuse. Number 2. The death of Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam was last seen on January 31, 2013, in the lobby of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She was vacationing through the West Coast, documenting the trip on her blog, and checking in with her parents every day. On January 31, those calls stopped. Lam had vanished. Soon the police were involved and her parents arrived to help with the search. They had nothing. That February, LAPD released elevator surveillance footage of Lam before her disappearance. The footage shows Lam behaving strangely in the elevator, appearing to talk with invisible people, peering around the corner of the door, crouching in the corner, and opening and closing the door. But what exactly is going on in this video raises more questions than answers. Theories range from psychotic episodes, to demonic possession, to unknown assailants just out of the camera's view. Around that time, hotel guests started reported weird things happening with the Cecil Hotel water supply. As CNN reports, the shower was awful, said Sabina Baugh, who spent 8 days there during the investigation. When you turned the tap on, the water was coming black first for 2 seconds and then it was going back to normal. The tap water tasted horrible, Baugh said. It had a very funny, sweety, disgusting taste. It's a very strange taste. I can barely describe it. But for a week, they never complained. We never thought anything of it, she said. We thought it was just the way it was here. On the morning of February 19, a hotel employee climbed to the roof and used a ladder to investigate the hotel's water storage tanks. That's where authorities found the decomposing, naked body of Lam, whose personal items were found nearby. After an autopsy, her death was labeled accidental. NBC Los Angeles reported at the time about the strange circumstances in the hotel's past. The tank has a metal latch that can be opened, but authorities said access to the roof is secured with an alarm and lock. The single-room occupancy hotel has an unusual history. Night stalker Richard Ramirez, who was found guilty of 14 slayings in the 1980s, lived on the 14th floor for several months in 1985. An international serial killer Jack Unterweger is suspected of murdering 3 prostitutes during the time he lived there in 1991. He killed himself in jail in 1994. In 1962, a female occupant jumped out of one of the hotel's windows, killing herself and a pedestrian on whom she landed. In February 2021, a Netflix doc called Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel explored Elisa's tragic case and the history of the cursed Cecil Hotel. Number 1. The Tara Calico Case. On the morning of September 20, 1988, in Belen, New Mexico, it seemed like a perfect day to ride a bike. Tara Calico borrowed her mother's pink bike to go out for a spin. Extroverted and active, she worked as a bank teller and was studying to become either a psychologist or psychiatrist. She planned to play tennis that afternoon and asked her mom to drive out after her in case she got a flat tire and didn't return home by noon. She never did return. Every lead went to a dead end until a year later, when a photo was found depicting a young woman her age and a missing boy, both gagged. The Polaroid photograph was found in a parking lot outside a junior food store in Florida. The 9-year-old, Michael Henley, went missing in the same area as Calico in April of 1988 when he was hunting turkeys with his father. They appeared to be in the back of a van, with a copy of a book written by V.C. Andrews, Calico's favorite author, lying right beside the girl. Initially, Tara's mother didn't think the girl was her, but the girl in the photograph had a scar identical to Calico. But still, due to the lack of evidence, many experts dismissed the photograph. In 1990, Michael Henley's body was found in Zuni Mountains where he was hunting, which strongly disconnects the theory that the two were abducted and taken to Florida. Calico's parents would eventually die, never finding out who took their daughter.